Morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. We are just holding off until 8 o'clock or just after, just to give people plenty time to join the session. It's an early morning start, so I commend you for being here. 8 o'clock. Apologies just in advance if you hear my kids running around the background here as my wife screams at them to get ready for school and get a move on and that type of thing. Hopefully you won't hear them, but the joys of the early morning starts. But thank you for coming along this morning. I hope you're enjoying Business Week. I hope you're enjoying some of the other activities and webinars and panel sessions and things like that. Lots going on this week. So I hope you're taking advantage of all of it. If you want to chat to me today, by the way, the best way to do that, I'll be repeating this in just a second once a few more people join. But if you want to say hello, best way, of course, is to use the chat box. Hopefully you'll be able to type in there, say a little hello message in there. If you're able to keep your own microphones on mute for the session. But if you want to chat, then just type away in the chat box any questions as we go. I'll repeat that in just a second. I'm going to hold off for just another 60 seconds and then we're going to get going because we've only got an hour this morning. There's a lot I want to try and jam in, pack in. So I don't want to delay the start too long, but I'll hold off just another 60 seconds or so and then we will get going. While you're waiting, feel free to give us a wee introduction in the chat box. You don't need to, it's not mandatory, but it's always nice to know who's on these sessions. Right, we will, I wish I had a kind of a countdown style clock on the screen that gave you the whole 30-second countdown with Carol Vorderman. I've shown my age now, Carol Vorderman. She no longer does countdown, does she? It's Rachel now, isn't it? Right, I'm waffling just to fill the time. I'll hold off just another 20 seconds and then we will get going. And if anybody joins us in between now and then that's absolutely fine. They can join as we go. Any chat, type it into the chat box. I should hopefully see that. If one of you want to just say a quick hello in there, it would help me just to make sure it's definitely working. Make sure that I can see your responses, see your chat. I'll gladly respond to any of it as it comes in today. Okay, I think we'll get going. I'm just holding off just a couple of seconds just till I see anybody saying hello into the chat. If I just type a wee message myself, and if you want to type a wee hello back, then fantastic. It's mainly just for me to check this is all working, but I think it is. Okay, there's a few of you on now. I'm going to kick off. Good morning, Andrew. Thank you so much, Andrew. And Alan as well. Thank you so much. Right, listen, the tech is working. Emma, thank you. Let's move on and deal with today's session. Thank you. Welcome along to the first session of Scottish Business Week 2022. This is the ATM early morning session, early bird session. Goodness me, I commend you all for your efforts. How to improve your SEO learning zone. My name is Gary Ennis. I deliver a lot of training on behalf of Business Gateway and Digital Boost, Scottish Enterprise, some of the other partners that are helping give Scottish Business Week the merit it deserves this week. If you're going to tweet about today's session, if you're going to talk on social media about today's session or any of the Scottish Business Week sessions, please use the hashtag ScotBiz2022. Just as we always do with these sessions, just a little bit of housekeeping to begin. I won't spend much on this, I promise. This session is being recorded, just to let you know. We are recording this session. This is so that people who have registered for Scottish Business Week but who weren't able to attend are still able to watch these back on record. If you can all please remain on mute. Picking up just a wee bit of background noise from one or two of you at the moment. If you can please remain on mute. That's not because I don't want to hear from you. That's just to give you some privacy and to minimize any background noise distractions. So please be unmuted. If you want to have your webcam on or off, that's your choice. And again, just a wee reminder, talk to me via the chat box. Ask me any questions you've got. I'll try and answer any as I go. I'll maybe hang back a little bit at the end, but I do stress we need to be somewhat on time today. We've only got an hour and there's lots else going on as part of Business Week. So I'll be given a red flag if I go on too long. And also at the end, I'll give you a link to the slides we're going through. So, okay, so I'm going to base this morning's presentation on a number of slides. I'm going to be jumping out from those slides and showing you a few live things as well. But you'll get a link to a PDF download of the slides that you can take your time going through whenever or however you choose to do so. I don't need to tell you to behave. I don't need to tell you to be mindful of your language and behavior, because you're going to do that because you're all lovely people anyway, I'm sure. Okay, let's move on. Just a little reminder, this is a 1-hour session. It is based on a couple of the webinars delivered on a monthly basis through the Digital Boost program. If you're not familiar with the Digital Boost program, you absolutely should be. Go and check out the Business Gateway website, bgateway.com. Click through to Digital Boost. You'll find what are now 28 webinars on all sorts of digital topics. As I say, today's session is a kind of modification of 2 in particular, 2 of the search engine optimization topics. But if you want more detail about the things we're talking about today, if you want some of the kind of deeper level content, not that I'm not going to give you some of that today, then I do recommend you attend the dedicated Digital Boost SEO sessions, as well as all the other Digital Boost webinars, which you can take advantage of. So today's agenda, we are going to make sure that you all at the end of the hour have a better understanding of SEO and why it matters. Most of you will know the basics already, that you can carry out what we call keyword research and why that's important, that you know of some of the feeds, tools and systems that can help you do this and help you improve your website, know what changes to make where on your website, and lastly, time permitting, we'll squeeze in a few of the technical factors which also impact search engine optimization, where Google rank your website, some of the things we will get to later on. So that's the outline of today's session. We're going to jump straight in and start with the question, what is it and why do we care about Google? Okay, Google. So let's start with the rather dull, boring Wikipedia definition of search engine optimization, SEO. Again, I'm not going to labor this in any shape or form. It's the process of improving the quality and quantity of website traffic to a website from search engines. It targets unpaid traffic known as natural or organic rather than direct or paid. Here's my in other words, okay? Because that's a little bit geeky and a little bit long-winded. It's about convincing Google to put my website as high up the rankings as possible when the right people search for the right things relevant to my business, so that I get more clicks to my website for free, meaning the possibility of increased revenue. It's not a guarantee of money because they might come to my website and still not buy, but it's the chance of that money in the first place because I'm bringing the right people who might buy. I'm stressing this for a reason. If you have ever received a spam email or a postcard in the post that says, hey, top of Google for only £5, run a mile, okay? Because those spammy ways of doing it are about any traffic, searching for any old thing, getting them volume to your website, they were probably never going to buy in the first place. SEO is not about quantity, it's about quality. And I always like to stress that, because especially if you're at an earlier stage of business, you know, you might think it's about driving the traffic. You'll have heard that phrase before. I hate that phrase, driving the traffic. That's just about volume to get them onto the website. No, it's about the right people onto the website for the right things because they are maybe going to buy. So I just want to stress that. I hope that makes sense. And hopefully as we go through the session this morning, I'll kind of reiterate some of that ethos as we go. Okay, you'll notice that my little definition of my own said it's about getting Google to do this. Of course, there are other search engines. Of course, there are things like Bing and Yahoo and DuckDuckGo. But look at the stat on the screen right now. It's all about Google. Google has the dominance in the UK market. It's got the dominance in the global market. And a little reminder, I use this slide more than anything to say you might be a Bing user. You might be a Yahoo user. But keep in mind your customer, and that's what search engine optimization is all about, understanding the customer and their behavior. They are likely to be a Google user. So don't get confused between what you like and what the customer is likely using. It's all about influencing Google. And if you did need more convincing and statistics on that, and I'm not going to go through any of these 10 amazing Google facts and figures, etc., you can go through this yourself later on when you get the slides, or you can come to the wider Digital Boost webinar and I'll maybe go through these in a wee bit more detail. So let's start with a quick discussion around keywords. And in fact, before I do that, I'm actually going to play you a little video from Google directly, because it's important in order for us to go forward from this stage this morning that we all have a basic understanding of the principles around how Google works. Okay, so rather than me give you this, I'm going to play a little video from Google directly about how Google works. I'm going to play this through the webinar for you. If for whatever reason it's a little bit clunky and it starts to buffer or slow down or whatever, I'll paste a link into the chat box for you as well later on. So let me just click the play on this and hear from Google in a couple of minutes. I won't play you the full 5 minutes here. I'll just play the first 2 or 3 about how Google itself explains how it all works.
Every day, billions of people come here with questions about all kinds of things. Sometimes we even get questions about Google search itself, like how this whole thing actually works. And while this is a subject entire books have been written about, there's a good chance you're in the market for something a little more concise. So let's say it's getting close to dinner and you want a recipe for lasagna. You've probably seen this before, but let's go a little deeper. Since the beginning, back when the homepage looked like this, Google has been continuously mapping the web, hundreds of billions of pages, to create something called an index. Think of it as the giant library we look through whenever you do a search for lasagna or anything else. Now, the word lasagna shows up a lot on the web. Pages about the history of lasagna, articles by scientists whose last name happened to be lasagna, stuff other people might be looking for. But if you're hungry, randomly clicking through millions of links is no fun. This is where Google's ranking algorithms come into play. First, they try to understand what you're looking for, so they can be helpful even if you don't know exactly the right words to use or if your spelling is a little off. Then they sift through millions of possible matches in the index and automatically assemble a page that tries to put the most relevant information up top for you to choose from. Okay, now we have some results. But how did the algorithms actually decide what made it onto the first page? There are hundreds of factors that go into ranking search results, so let's talk about a few of them. You may already know that pages containing the words you search for are more likely to end up at the top. No surprise there. But the location of those words, like in the page's title or in an image's caption, those are factors too. There's a lot more to ranking than just words. Back when Google got started, we looked at how pages link to each other to better understand what pages were about and how important and trustworthy they seemed. Today, linking is still an important factor. Another factor is location, where a search happens. Because if you happen to be in Ormea, Italy, you might be looking for information about their annual lasagna festival. But if you're in Omaha, Nebraska, you probably aren't. When a web page was uploaded is an important factor too. Pages published more recently often have more accurate information, especially in the case of a rapidly developing news story. Of course, not every site on the web is trying to be helpful. Just like with robocalls on your phone or spam in your email, there are a lot of sites that only exist to scam, and every day scammers upload millions more of them. So just because instantvirusdownload.net lists the words lasagna recipe 400 times, that doesn't mean it's going to help you make dinner. We spend a lot of time trying to stay one step ahead of tricks like these, making sure our algorithms can recognize scam sites and flag them before they make it to your search results page. So let's review. Billions of times a day, whenever someone searches for lasagna, or resume writing tips, or how to swaddle a baby, or anything else, Google software locates all the potentially relevant results on the web, removes all the spam, and ranks them based on hundreds of factors like keywords, links, location, and freshness. Okay, good time to take a breath.
Right. That's exactly what we'll do as well. We'll pause the lovely lady from Google there. We'll take a breath ourselves. I've just posted the link to that video in the chat box. If you want to watch the rest of it, and I do recommend you do that, then click the link later on. Click it now, bookmark it, look at it later. But hopefully, you know, to give you a wee summary of what was just said, how does Google work? There are hundreds of factors in terms of how it ranks pages, including, and arguably some of the bigger ones, keywords, links, location, and freshness. And we're going to talk about all of these things in the next 45-50 minutes, starting with keywords, okay? The words people search for. And you probably heard a second ago, it's no surprise that the words people search for, if they are on the pages, of the websites, then those websites are likely to maybe appear a little bit higher in the results. We're going to start with keywords, and I'm going to give you 3 questions, rhetorical questions. If you want to type any of your responses to these into the chat box, you are more than welcome, but they are rhetorical. Question number, and I'm going to kind of bring this to life in just a second, by the way, just in case it's still confusing you. Question number 1, who are you targeting? Who is your customer? And what stage of the customer journey are they at? And I'll expand that whole, what do I mean by customer journey, in just a second. Are they at the start of the journey? Are they in the middle? Are they near the end? Who is the customer and where are they on that journey? Question number 2, what words and phrases, i.e. keywords, you know, a keyword is simply just a word or a phrase somebody types into Google. What keywords are they searching for to help achieve their objective at the stage of the journey that they are at? Again, I'll bring this to life in just a second. And question number 3, the important one, are these words even on your website? So you think like a customer, you ask yourself, what are they searching for? And then you critique your own website and say, are those words even there? And if they are there, you stand a good chance to be in the mix for the Google rankings, for the Google results pages. If they're not there, you will have to work a lot harder elsewhere to get Google even to consider you as related to that search, i.e., do you have keyword authority? Are you about the thing they searched for? And the simplest way to explain how Google does that is they searched for this. Oh, you mentioned that. Therefore, you are relevant. You maybe have some keyword authority. You are maybe going to be in the rankings for that search. I hope that makes sense. To bring this to life just a little bit more detail, to explain what I mean by customer journey, etc. I'm not going to go into the detail of customer journeys. Hopefully you have some understanding about them. The moment of awareness, they then start to consider their options. They narrow it down. They maybe make a purchase. And the great thing about the digital world is after they've made the purchase, they can then become loyal to you and your customer advocates, etc. However, back to Google, the scenario here is somebody searching for a family holiday. Okay, so early awareness. I don't really know what I'm looking to do. I just know that we're going to holiday at home this year because maybe I'm still worried about COVID or whatever. So holiday in Scotland becomes my early stage customer journey search term. I go to Google and I search for holiday in Scotland. Then maybe a few days or weeks down the line, I've been talking about it with my wife, with my family. I'm narrowing it down a little bit. Early consideration. We've decided to go up north. Places to stay in the Highlands. There's another Google search. My keywords are now that compared to the much more generic one prior to it. We talk about it some more. We look at some options. We look at a few other websites. We narrow it down. We've decided that we actually want to stay in Inverness because that will be close to some friends we know. Self-catering accommodation in Inverness because that's better suited for the kids, etc. We are nearly ready to purchase. This could be days later. It could be hours later. It's typically going to be days, maybe even weeks later. We've narrowed it right down. Actually, what we have decided on, we are now specifically looking for dog-friendly self-catering log cabins near Inverness. Did you see what happened there? We started at the start of the journey with very generic terms. We get to the end of the journey, we are using much more specific things as we know what in detail we are looking for. This is the customer journey. And you all need to think about your own customers, their own journey, what they search for at the start of that journey, through the journey, and at the end. Because the point is, the words in blue on the screen right now, if I am running an accommodation provision service in Inverness, I in theory need to, if I want to maximize my potential traffic, my potential customers visiting from, I need to match and have on my website some of these words, all of these words. Let's show you a silly example, and this is purely fictional. Let's just pretend that I am indeed running a lovely business called Gary's Wilderness Retreat. Okay, I'm not before you Google me. It is just fictional. And my opening homepage says, welcome to Gary's Luxury Wilderness Retreat, a home from home no matter where you're from, a place to relax, enjoy nature, and escape from the city for that deserved family break. Now that might sound quite lovely and well written and almost romantic. It's a lovely piece of prose. It's lovely marketing. But look at the paragraph again and ask yourself, does it contain any keyword content? Would the words in that paragraph be used by a target customer to search for my type of business? Probably not, because I've gone down the route of trying to make it sound too flowery, too lovely, too pretty, too nice, too much of a well-written bit of marketing. Let's do some minor SEO tweaking. Looking for a place to stay in the Highlands for that perfect holiday in Scotland? Then welcome to Gary's Wilderness Retreat, offering a range of self-catering accommodation options, including our luxury log cabins, suitable for the whole family, including the dog, just outside Inverness. That opening paragraph of my website, my fictional website, now contains all of the keywords that I have done my research on, that I think my customer will be using at an early stage, during the middle, and at the end of their customer journey. In one paragraph, I am now going to tell Google that I do have keyword authority for some of the obvious things some people are going to search for while trying to find my business. I hope this is making sense. I hope that's clear. Does your website contain the words that it needs to contain, i.e. the words your target customers are actually using themselves in the search box? Are you calling it what they search for? Are you saying it in language that they use on Google search? Are you matching their content with your content? Again, I hope this is all making sense. If anybody wants to give me any feedback in the chat, or say yes, or say that you know, that you're having light bulb moments or anything like that, please do so. It's always nice to feed off your comments. I'll try and answer any questions as well as you've got them, if you've got them. Okay, let's move on. So the point is, where do we get keyword ideas? How do we know what people are searching for? Well, the first thing I will say is your own gut knowledge of your customer base is important. But sometimes we make assumptions which are wrong. Sometimes we assume they're searching for things, and therefore we will go and take all those words and add them to our website. And I'll get to the how to add them to the website in a second. But what if my assumptions are wrong? How do we do keyword research? I'm going to share with you some tools. Now, in the main Digital Boost SEO webinar that we spend, you know, well, over 2 webinars, we spend 4 hours. So today I'm not going to go through all 7 of these. I'm just going to give you 3 of them, okay? Basic keyword research to get you going. And the first one I'm going to use is Google itself, okay? And I'm going to do what's called play with the auto predict. And I'm also going to play with what I call alphabet search. Now, one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to go into incognito mode. Okay, now you probably know what incognito mode is. I'm not going to ask why you might be using it. I use it because it allows me to kind of log off Google, get away from Google knowing it's me. It stops kind of using my internet history as a basis of my search results. Because keep in mind, when you use Google, Google is tailoring it to you. So I log off by kind of going incognito. So let's, again, I'm going to stick with I'm running family-friendly accommodation in Inverness. I want to know what people are searching for. How about just simply me doing hotel in Scotland with, okay, what does it predict? Notice it's predicting with pool, with outdoor pool, with hot tub, with private hot tub, with spa, with dinner. This is Google suggesting results to you, a user of Google, based on what other people are searching for. These are trending searches. And so as a business who is maybe a hotel in Scotland, you want to know what people are searching so that you can write your content accordingly. So now I'm thinking, well, maybe I should mention my pool a little bit more. Maybe I should mention the hot tub a little bit more. Maybe I should mention the spa. Maybe I should remind people that we also do dinner. Now, I'm not telling you to take every word and stick it onto your website, but this is all food for thought about which words should you maybe have as part of your website, as part of your opening page, as part of you know, your opening paragraph, your detail. So that's one way to do it. Simply use Google Predictive, type in some things and see what it suggests. The way I prefer to do this in a slightly more structured manner is to do what's called the alphabet type search. So I'll do hotel in Scotland with A, which is a spa that are dog friendly. B, breakfast, balcony. Who knew that people were looking for hotels with balconies? Clearly they are. Breakfast included. Balmoral, is it any surprise that maybe Balmoral's up there in the search rankings over the last few weeks? Maybe hasn't been for that type of search, you know, prior. C, cafe, car parking, Christmas lunch. People are already looking for their hotels for their Christmas dinners or their Christmas lunches. D, dog-friendly deals. You see what I'm doing? I'm simply typing something related to my in this case, fictional business, adding in the ABCD after it to see what comes up, to give me ideas for things which I should probably be mentioning on my website. Just picking up a wee bit of background noise for one or two of you. If you're able to remain muted, that would be really helpful. Thank you. Just check you're on mute. Thank you very much. I'm hearing somebody turn paper and cough, so my apologies. So hopefully this is making sense. The point is not to take every word and use it. The point is to what I call, and please nobody take this the wrong way, I call the duh moment. You know, duh, we're dog friendly. We haven't even mentioned it. Duh, you know, we provide breakfast deals. We haven't even mentioned it anywhere. Duh, we've got hot tubs in all of the rooms. We haven't even mentioned it. And if you haven't mentioned it and people are searching for it, then that's the missed opportunity. I hope that all makes sense. It's basic keyword research. There are better, more scientific ways to do that. I'm going to give you a couple more of them now. So that's the first way I would do it. The second way I would do it is through a tool called Keyword Planner. Okay. Now, Keyword Planner, let me just maximize this on my screen right now for you. Keyword Planner is part of Google AdWords. Okay, Google Ads. If you've never used Google Ads before, my apologies. This will all be new to you. If you want to use Keyword Planner, you will need to sign up and get yourself a Google Ads account. Whether or not you actually do Google advertising is another matter. However, let me show you what Keyword Planner is. And again, you'll be able to find it. You'll be able to create yourself an account if you want, and you'll be able to use it. You don't need to. There are other tools. I'm going to give you one or two more. So I'm on Google Keyword Planner. I go to the Discover New Keywords section. And I'm going to just stick with what I know, okay? My business, mainly, we do a lot more things than this, but we mainly do social media training, digital skills training, that type of thing. Some of you may know me and the team for, you know, delivering digital boost sessions, etc. So I think I make an assumption, I assume that people are searching for social media training. So using Keyword Planner, I can stick in what my assumption is, and I can click Get Results. And what this does is it tells me, are people searching for this, and are there alternatives, words and phrases that you might want to consider? So straight away, social media training, it tells me that every month in the UK, because I have set this to the UK, you could set this to, you know, international markets. If you are trying to bring in international customers, you could easily use this to search for, what do Americans search for? What do people in New Zealand search for? What do people in Australia search for? So in the UK, up to 1,000 searches a month for the phrase social media training. And I'm going, oh, that's good. Great. I'll definitely use that as my content, in my words, on my homepage. And then it says, first suggestion, but Gary, if you called it a social media marketing course, 10 times as many people search that every month, up to 10,000 searches a month for social media. So now I'm thinking, and again, this is all fictional, play along, right? I don't ever call it that. Maybe I should stop always calling it social media training and instead say, hey, are you looking for a social media marketing course? Then you've come to the right place. I've just got a more volume keyword, key phrase, now on my homepage, now on my website. Okay, oh, look at that. They definitely call them courses, social media courses, up to 10,000 searches a month. And again, I'm looking at my own website and I'm going, I don't even call it a course. I call it a workshop, or I call it general training. Why haven't I used the word course? Clearly people are searching for social media courses, social media management courses, Instagram courses, Facebook, and I keep scrolling this list and I get ideas based on volume of search. You know, I don't want to have words on here which are not searched for. I don't want to have words on here. I don't want to be calling it things which are the lowest descriptions. Or I want my website to reflect high volume searches, because that's what's going to make me more matches. The customer searches for it, they match my content as a result. All simple. It's common sense. It's not rocket science. The beauty of SEO is it's actually really simple. It's better understanding customer behavior. And all we're doing here is working out, what do my customers typically search for? Okay, so that's it. I'm going to do quickly another way to use it. If I can ask you all just to check you're on mute, please. Somebody has their microphone on, and we're picking up a bit of a background noise here. Thank you very much, whoever that was. They've turned it off. I'm going to show you another way to use this. Again, you have to excuse me coughing away today. I did a full day training session yesterday. where I talked for 7 hours straight, so my voice is a little bit strained this morning. I'm going to show you another way to use it. Back into discover new keywords, you'll notice I can start with my own suggested keywords, or I can start with somebody else's website. So here's the scenario. Let's just say I'm brand new to social media training, and I go and work out who my competitors are. And I work out that one of my evil competitors are Two Minds. Okay, if you know Rennie and the gang up in Inverness, Two Minds, don't you actually feel free to joke and tell him that I was calling him my evil competitor today. He's not my competitor. I partner with Rennie a lot, but pretend, play along. So here's somebody who does what I'm going to do in business, and what do? I go and grab their website. And I close that down and I go back to my keyword planner, and I use keyword planner to investigate and analyze my competitor website, and I hit get results, and now it's doing the same activity based on what they use the phrase social media trainer. They actually talk about their individual trainers, right? Interesting. They use workshop, they use courses, they specialize. They online social media. I like it. They're focused. So what am I doing? I'm looking at another business's content, analyzing it from a keyword volume perspective to give me ideas for what I should be using. Pineapple juice, Gary, that's what my profession singer friend uses, pineapple juice. So again, this is all just to give you ideas for content. Again, do not simply lift every word on the screen and squeeze it into your website. Use it as I should probably be using that one. Look at the volume on that one. Goodness me, I can't believe, I've not used that one. It's ideas for content. Again, I hope this is all making a lot of sense. So that was Google Autofill. That was Google Keyword Planner. The last one I'm going to show you for today, because again, time is limited today, we've only got an hour, is one called Google Trends. Now, this is really simple. In fact, it's so simple that if you want to play with this while I'm talking to you, I'll type it into the chat box and you can have a little play. Now, Google Trends, I call this my keyword thesaurus, okay? In as much as it gives me choices as to which words I should use. So let's just, again, go back to a fictional scenario. Let's just pretend I'm in the tourism market. In fact, let's just pretend I'm a travel agent, and I'm thinking about what to focus on my homepage. And I'm wondering if people are still worried about COVID. Are they fine with foreign holidays again? So let's just do a quick search. If I just show you how this works, it's easier to show, and it's self-explanatory. Foreign holiday. Do people search for foreign holiday? Yes, they do. Okay, but how does that compare to holiday abroad? What should I call it? Oh, look at that. I should definitely be calling it, hey, are you looking to holiday abroad this year? Rather than, are you looking for a foreign holiday this year? Look at the difference in searched volume. Holiday abroad massively outweighing the alternative, hence why I call it my thesaurus, option 1 or option 2. But then I say, well, actually, maybe they are still looking to holiday at home. Are they still looking to, or should we focus entirely on our foreign holidays, or should we still talk about, we probably should still talk about holidaying at home, because it's still there, it's still in the mix. But actually, do they call it holiday at home, or do they call it staycation? Is staycation a buzzword that nobody actually uses, or do people search for staycations? Look at this, they do, and it's almost now at the same level as holiday abroad. So as a travel agent, as a travel company, we are going to talk about both our foreign and domestic holidays, and we are going to make sure we are talking about holidaying abroad. And if you're looking for a staycation, those are some of the words we will make sure we use to maximize the volume of searches. Again, I repeat, does all of this make sense? It's simple, isn't it? So you can simply stick in, okay, will they call it search engine optimization, or will they call it SEO? If I'm a website providing that service, I want to know what the general customer base is likely. Or actually, do they call it get to top of Google? You work out where the volume is comparatively. And Google Trends is such a lovely, simple tool to do just that. Thank you, Monica. Monica saying, yes, making total sense. It's simple tools to make sure you're using the right words. That's all we're doing. Does my website say the right thing? And how do I know it's saying the right thing? Excuse me. I didn't think it was this bad. My apologies. I know it's saying the right thing because I've done my research. I've done my keyword research. So loads of tools you could use. Let me close that one down. As I say, time permitting, I'm only going to show you those 3 today, but you should be using them. And again, a little reminder, when you download the PDF of the slides, there are slides about reminding you about Keyword Planner, how to set it up. There's other tools you should look at, one called Ubersuggest. Ubersuggest is quite like Google Keyword Planner, but you don't quite need the same Google login to Google AdWords, etc. You should have a little look at Ubersuggest. It's very good. Ubersuggest is a freemium, Alan. So it will give you quite a lot of what I've just shown you, the type of keyword research and competitor analysis, etc., for free. But if you want to have an account where it can send you updates, where it can, where it will search indefinitely, that time, you will become a paid. Listen, it's free with a login, and it gives you an awful lot. So the answer is, I'll just say yes to your answer. If you want the full kind of features from Ubersuggest, you will have to become a paid for user, but stick with the free for just now. I just use it occasionally for free, don't pay them any money, but it's one of these freemium. You've got Google Search Console. Again, I'm not really going to talk about that today. If you have a website, you should have a Google Search Console login. You'll maybe get a wee bit of this chat at tomorrow's business week session from Brian Tate tomorrow evening, where he talks about analytics and website analytics. Google Search Console is arguably part of the analytics chat, but it will help you with your search engine terms that people are actually searching to get to your website. You've got Google Trends, which I demonstrated to you, completely free, dead easy to use, fun, simple, keyword thesaurus. You've got things like density checkers, whereby you can go and run your competition websites through and it will tell you which words they use the most, which again usually says, well, these are the words that they are focusing on. These are the words that they are clearly wanting Google to detect in volume, i.e. these are arguably my competitors' keywords that they are focusing on. And then you've got a lovely tool, which if I did have time to demonstrate, I would, but I won't today, answerthepublic.com, which again, you can use at a free level, but again, it has paid for options as well, whereby you stick in the topic and it tells you the questions people are asking about that topic. So if I stick in social media into Answer the Public, it has a whole load of weird and wonderful questions related to social media based on what is the world wanting to know about it. And it's things like, is social media bad for mental health? It's things like, which social media is the best platform to use for business? It's things like, why is social media banned in China? And suddenly these are concepts, questions, keywords people are searching for that I could consider using as part of my web content to make more matches. Answer the Public is another fun one you should definitely have a little look at. Gives you ideas for great content. So those are some of the keyword research tools. Once you've done your research, you then need to optimize your site itself. So you know the words you want to be using. The next step is, okay, what do I do with them? I've done my research. I know that I need to be using social media training courses more than just social media training. So where do I add the word course? Where do I add the word holiday at home? Where do I add the word staycation? Where do I put all this keyword research I've been doing? I'm going to just use an example web page and quickly go through some of the places I want you to focus on. Now, how you do this, I certainly cannot go into detail today because you all maybe build websites differently. Some of you will use WordPress, some of you will use Wix, some of you will have a web design company that you just phone up and say, hey, make these changes. But at least if we know where to make the changes, hopefully I can send you off with the knowledge that you'll be able to go and do it yourself somehow using the system, using your web design company, whatever. So the first thing I'm going to flag up is the actual web address itself. Okay. Now, your top level, your home page, we're not really talking about the home page here. Arguably, your homepage is your most important one to optimize, by the way. Google would probably rather have your homepage listed in the rankings than any other page, but it will look at all your pages as an option for a customer doing a search. And if you are talking about further pages beyond the homepage, we can optimize the URLs themselves. So by this, I mean, if you have simply got things like mydomain.com/services. Well, what services? That's a bit generic. That's a bit non-keyword. mydomain.com/about us for your about us page. mydomain.com slash, and I still see this to this day, page4.html, or if it's a particular blog article, mydomain.com/blog/blog729, because it's your 729th blog. The URLs themselves should be keyword rich. Okay, so if your blog post, and as per this example, is about using TikTok, you know, my domain /how to use TikTok for business, the web address contains the keywords. You know, mydomain.com/ instead of just /services/ /our social media services. At least now that page is about social media services rather than just the generic services. No keywords in there. Again, I hope that makes sense. Go through and look at your kind of web structure, your URLs, and ask yourself, could you make the actual web addresses more keyword rich than they currently are? Because I'll make an assumption that some of them are very, very basic and not containing any keywords. Google reads everything top down. What's at the top? The web address. What page are we on, says Google? Oh, it's clearly about this topic because of what you've got in your web address, your URL. Making sense? I hope it is. Let's move on. The next thing, and arguably the most important thing to focus on, if you were only going to do one thing after today's webinar, this be the one, okay? The page title. And by page title, I don't mean any big words which appear on the screen, on the page, on the kind of body of text. I mean the thing that appears in the browser tab. So when you visit any web page in a web browser, if you move your mouse over to the wee tab at the top and roll over it, it will pop up, it will kind of display almost in full what that, so again, if I roll my mouse over the tab, it would show something like this, where you can see that my page title is how to use TikTok for business to reach new, younger audiences. There's a descriptive keyword rich, because I did my keyword research. I think these are the words I should be using now in my title. Okay, I've already said your homepage is probably your most important page. This is a rhetorical question to all of you, but I want to challenge you. How many of you have a homepage title of home? I would estimate at least one of you on this call, probably a lot more than that. How many of you have a homepage title, you know, where when I roll over it, there's no keywords in there? Maybe it's just the name of your business. Maybe it's just a generic home dash name of business. Because especially if you don't know that you need to be changing your title, maybe this thing's just been created automatically by your content management system. And that, well, we created a homepage, it randomly created the title home, as opposed to you editing it, overriding it, coming up with a keyword description. The titles, listen, my cheesy one-liner, the title is vital. There you go. You can't forget that now. I come up with these cheesy one-liners and make myself look silly for your benefit. The title is vital. The title, if it's got keywords in there, is a huge tick to go. Oh, they searched for this. It's in your title. There's a great chance of your pages now being on the Google rankings, being on the results pages. And not only that, and again, with more time, I would demonstrate this. The title is not just used to get you onto Google. It's your titles, which are then typically used on the rankings themselves. So whatever you're using as a title is the words somebody will see on the Google results page and decide whether or not to click on you. So imagine you were lucky enough, you probably never would be, to get onto the home page of Google, page number 1, and you had left your home page with the title of home. Now, as I say, probably unlikely you would get onto page 1 because of that. But imagine you did. Would somebody then click on that blue link on the Google results pages, the word? No, they would be looking above you, below you, because there's competitors who are using better keyword titles, which make me want to click them more. Hence why your title is vital. Keywords in your title. Think about the words. Think about the changing your title. Hopefully this is easy to do for you. Your content management system. If you're using something like WordPress, you would use something like the Yoast plugin, Y-O-A-S-T, Yoast, toast with a Y. If you're using something like Wix or Weebly or Squarespace, the title, they're all editable. They're all changeable. You can configure them. If you're using a web design company and you're currently looking at your own web pages and you're going, why is my homepage title home? Why is my About Us page title About Us? Why is my services title Our Service? Where's the detail? Where's the keywords? Then if you are using a web design company, phone them up immediately and say, why are my titles so keyword unfriendly? Let's get the keywords in there. Keyword titles will massively help you, I promise. Okay, moving on. getting a little bit geekier here, but bear with me. We've got headers, we've got H1 headers, we've got H2 headers. These are the parts of your web pages which you are basically styling up, not just to be bigger and bolder, but to actually, in the HTML, you're telling Google these are headers, an H1 header, the big header, an H2 header, low. My point here is if you're using headers on your pages, and you probably should be, and I won't get into the minor detail about why, don't just make them bold text, actually style them up as headers. Again, in your content management system, you will hopefully just be able to select it and make it a header. And if you are using headers, don't just have About Us as your header for your About Us page. Make the header About Us - Scotland's social media training company. Maybe that's a little bit too, sterile and obvious, but you get my point. Keywords in your headers. Again, if you're not using keyword related, you're missing a trick. Headers tell Google this page is about these things. It reads the words in titles, in URLs, in headers, and it prioritizes some of this stuff to say, are you about what the customer is searching for? Well, you must be. We are matching that content in these very specific places. Headers are important, as is, of course, the rest of the text, what we call the body text. Again, analyze your own opening. Remember my silly Gary's Wilderness Retreat example from earlier on, where I looked at my opening paragraph and I said to myself, there are no keywords in here. Analyze your own content and say, how can I get a few more keywords in here? We're not going to spam it. We're not going to say, hey, welcome to NS Design. We do social media training. If you need social media training, we're the social media training company for you. NS Design provides social media training for anybody who needs social media training. And in Scotland, if you need social media training, come to NS Design because we do social media training. Don't do it like that. Okay, it will sound dreadful and people will immediately go, this just sounds spammy. Google will say, yep, you're just shoehorning that in at every opportunity. We don't want you to, it's not about having it said 4,000 times. It's about the right words being there and maybe in a little bit more volume. If you are truly about a particular topic or a particular, product or service, then if this page is about that, you will naturally talk more about it. The words will keep to the top of the density listings. Remember those density checkers I talked about earlier on? So we want to make sure the words are there. We want to make sure they're maybe there more than once, not thousands of times, but naturally woven in so that you're talking about the right words, the right phrases, based on what you believe customers are searching for in your body text. Again, it's a kind of art and science exercise all rolled into one. Lastly, sorry, two more things. Links. If you've got links on your pages from one page to another, try not to have the easy way to describe this. Try not to have a click here for our portfolio of work. Don't have a click here type link or a more info link. Have descriptive links. Instead of the link being on the click here, have it on the portfolio of web design work. That be the clickable link. Descriptive links help Google, reinforce that you're about these words and topics because you've actually got links about them on your web page to other pages of your own or indeed externally as well. And lastly, images, alt tags on images. If you have a web page or pages containing lots of images, you want to make sure that your images have text alternative descriptions, what we call the alt tag. Again, how do we do this? When we're adding an image through our content management system, most of them will ask you to give an alternative text description. So again, the alternative text description on this particular image would be, TikTok for business. In as much as if I didn't have any text on my page and I just had images, my images are giving the text information. My images have the text that Google can make the match on. My images now have keywords in the background, in the code that Google is able to use to say, yes, this page is about that thing they search for, because we can detect that even through the images, not just through the text. So those are the technical areas of your website you need to be focusing on. I hope all that makes sense. It was a bit of a whirlwind tour through it. We've only got 10 minutes left, so I need to kind of pause that there and move on. It's about doing the keyword research, working out what are the words and phrases that your website is lacking based on customers using them, and then adding them to the various parts of your web pages. Start with your homepage when you do this exercise. Start with the homepage title, and work from there. Titles, URLs, headers, bodies of text. Can we tweak them? Can we change them? Alt tags on images. Suddenly you're going to have keyword optimized pages, and they're still going to read well. You know, I go back to my silly Gary's Wilderness Retreat. That alternative paragraph still read very well. It was still nice and pretty and romantic, and would probably still have you wanting to book it. So it's not about ramming them in, it's about writing great content, making sure the keywords are in there. Okay, with 10 minutes to go, a few other things I want to talk about. You might want to consider a blog. Now, again, there is an entire dedicated Digital Boost webinar all about blogging. So I'm just going to give you the basics of this. Google loves, remember the video from Google earlier on? They talked about fresh content, newly created content. Google loves fresh, original content. And one of the best ways you could maybe do that and give yourself some extra bonus tick points in Google's eyes is to start blogging. A blog on your website, a blog which suddenly has more pages than you had before, a blog which is talking about different things which maybe aren't talked about on your other pages. So for example, I said earlier on, I love using that platform, Answer the Public, to work out what are the questions people have about social media and web design and digital marketing. And I did this a few years ago, and I detected earlier on people are searching for, why is social media banned in China? And I went, that's interesting. I would never talk about that anywhere else, but I could blog about that. And I wrote a blog post called Why is Social Media Banned in China, or Why is Facebook Banned in China, or something to that nature. And that blog post gets me traffic every single day of the week. Why? Because it's what we call evergreen content. People just seem to search for this all the time. So you could blog about things which are, you know, big topics in your industry. You could blog about topical, trending content, things which people are searching for now. What are you giving? You're giving content to Google to match against keyword searches by people using Google. Blogs are a great way to start driving more relevant traffic to your website. I urge you to start blogging. And again, I urge you to come to the Digital Boost session dedicated to blogging. Okay, moving on. What about some other maybe more technical considerations? Let's start with off-page SEO. Just a few other things to throw at you before we finish. What do we mean by off-page SEO? That simply means all the things away from your website that maybe other people can do. So not the changes to your website, we've covered that already. What can other people do? Well, the main off-page activity is what we call inbound links. Links from other websites to mine. If you get links to your website, Google are basically paying attention. Google are basically saying, right, well, you've got 10 links from other websites. Your competitors only have 2 links or 3 links, or you've got more links than them. That is one of the ways Google start to rank you. Who has got more links? You know, all other things being equal, you want more links than all your main competitors. Now, it's not just volume, it's also quality, okay? Never buy these things, never go down any of these spammy routes. Hey, 100 links for only £10. Those are spam. Tracy, yes, Yoast is a good plugin for WordPress. In terms of doing some of this stuff, in terms of optimizing your pages. So in terms of links, quality over quantity, ask yourself, why would somebody link to me? What pages would they link to? Could you get, you know, not competitors, they're the least likely to link to you. Could you get suppliers? Could you get partners, collaborators, maybe other small businesses in your local vicinity? Could you start getting people to link to you who don't really even know you because you simply create amazing blog content? Again, one of the other benefits of blogging is that you'll typically make it a lot less salesy than your other pages. It might be some great resources and some top 10 tips and all of these types of things. So maybe people are going to link to that stuff. So the point is, more links, better on Google. Okay, so try and think about what you're going to do to go and gain some links. Other things, you need to have a fast website. We're getting a little bit technical now, and this, again, bear with me. I hope this doesn't get too geeky for some of you. The need for speed. You can tell I'm a Top Gun fan, can't you? Google ranks faster websites higher, and it's almost as simple as that. If you have a very slow website, which is annoying your customers, it's also annoying Google. So you need to be using some of the speed testing websites. Again, there are links on the presentation. You can easily find these things if you want to quickly look at one in particular. I'll just bring one up now. Here's Google Page Speed Insights. And what you should get, and I run a wee risk here of doing this, I'll stick in my own web page. And listen, I don't mind sharing this with you. It gives you two scores, okay? It gives you the mobile score and it gives you the desktop score. And I guarantee you when the results come up here, you know, I might go, oh, why is it so slow? Because there we go. On a mobile, it's giving me 65 out of 100. And on a desktop, it's giving me, why is it not popping up? It's clearly showing that, there we go, scroll down, 96 out of 100. Everybody's websites are slower when you do tests like this on mobiles because it's emulating mobile usage. It's emulating a smaller device, you know, lower speed broadband, maybe even 3G. So don't panic when you see your mobile score. It will always be lower than your desktop score. However, that's your benchmark. It might then give you ideas, and I'm not going to go through this in detail, but it might give you ideas about how to start improving the speed. It might talk about reducing the size of your images because your images are massive. They don't need to be. It might talk about other things you can do with your code and how to optimize it. But again, you want to make your website as fast as possible. Why? Because that helps you go higher on Google. Okay. Now, I always like to say, work out what your speed is, but before you panic and then go, oh, let's make it faster, what's the speed of the competitor businesses around you on Google? So if you were to do a search for your thing and you appear on Google, who's above you? What speed are their websites at? See if they're blisteringly faster, then you want to make yours faster. See if they're actually around about the same or slower, maybe speed isn't quite such an issue. That's not what's causing Google to rank you lower than them, because you're actually already faster. Speed is only a comparative thing. You are faster or slower than others. So the others, in this case, well, you want to make sure that you know the speed of your competitors. Again, you can check them, you can check you can run your website through these tools, and it will give you kind of hints and tips to make your site that little bit whizzier. That's an important thing. Faster websites. Okay, also mobile websites. You want to, Google has now gone what we call mobile first, in as much as it's ranking things and evaluating things and critiquing things based on the mobile version of your website. So you want to make sure that your mobile, that your website is mobile friendly. You want to make sure you're using something which is called responsive design. You want to make sure that when you stick your website into a Google mobile test, and again, there are links on the screen, these things are easy to use, that you're getting the green tick. Yes, Google says mobile friendly, because if you're not, again, that's only going to push you down the rankings. Again, most of you will have mobile friendly websites nowadays. It's rare to find businesses which don't. And that's because finally, it took its time. All of the web builders out there, all of the WordPress templates and all of the Wix and the Weebly's, etc., they all finally got their butts in gear to make sure that everything they produced was of a mobile friendly perspective. But there are still plenty of business websites out there which for whatever reason aren't, or they don't quite work so well on a mobile. We need to be checking our websites on a mobile. We need to be checking they're functional, that they work, that they're easy to use. Start with the basic checkers, get the green tick, but also do your manual checking as well. Nothing beats a good manual check. Get your customers to help you out and do a bit of usability testing as well if you can. And make sure that this thing is flawless and simple and a joy to be using on a mobile. Again, some of these checkers, they'll point out where the problems are. Okay, error, text too small to read because you're not using responsive design. Error, content horizontally wider than the screen. Nobody wants to scroll left and right, up and down. Okay, we all accept that. So again, these are things which will kind of break your website in a mobile check. So it usually gives you a wee steer towards them. Local SEO, you want to make sure you're using Google Business. Used to be called Google My Business, now just Google Business. Remember what Google said earlier on in the video, where you're based makes a difference to how we rank you as well. Thank you, Nia. Where you're based, why? Because, well, again, if I'm local to you, I want to get your website. I don't want to get the similar business in America or in England or wherever. So one of the best ways to start really reinforcing where you're based and what you do, and able to reinforce that with keywords and things, is to make sure that you're on Google Business. Again, Digital Boost talk about Google Business in these wider SEO webinars that I've already mentioned, so get yourself booked on if you want a little bit more detail on these types of things. The example on the screen, the Isle of Cumbrae Distillers Limited. If you go to Google right now and you search for Millport Gin, what you get popping up immediately on the right of Google is the content from Google Business, because they have a Google Business profile. It's optimized not just for the business name, but for the keywords which people search for as well. And again, Isle of Cumbria distillers are most famous for the gin they make on Millport. And again, searching for keywords doesn't just bring up a link to their website, it brings up Google Business content, their logo, their pretty pictures, their Google reviews, their individual once you've got a Google Business profile, Google knows where you are and it knows more about what you do, because you would optimize your Google Business profile. You would start posting content to your Google Business profile. You would start, you know, adding your products. And again, through all of that, go through the whole, am I using the right keywords in my Google Business profile? Exactly the same as I did with, am I using the right keywords on my website itself? So again, all of it reinforcing the local aspect of Google and the keywords as well. Other technical considerations, just two for you to finish with. Don't forget about security. I like to all assume you've got the SSL, the wee padlock, secure sockets layer. We're all running secure websites. If you're not, Google's penalizing you and ranking you lower, and that you all at least have the basics of an understanding about web accessibility. There's a brand new Digital Boost webinar called Making Your Online Content Accessible. You should all get along if you can. You'll find the link on the Business Gateway website. Google prioritizes secure and accessible websites. Just another thing in their ranking factors. If we do all of this, we're going to have a better site higher up Google. In summary, focus on these 5 things. You will do well on Google. Relevance, by that I mean keywords. Are we relevant to the search being done? Are we aware of the keywords? Have we done our research? Have we put those keywords in our content, in our alt tags, in our titles? Are we writing fresh content? Blogging? Are we using the keywords in our Google Business profile? Are we creating content on there using those keywords? Trust. What do I mean by trust? Why does Google prioritize links back to your website? Because that is a measure of trust. Businesses only link back to you if they trust you. Get some more links. Get some more links from others to you. Get some more Google Business profile reviews. The reviews on Google Business, again, a measure of trust. Make sure your website's fast. Optimize your images, your code. You want a speedy website. Make sure it's mobile friendly. Make sure it's secure and up to date. Those are the 5 key things I would focus on if I was looking to get my website higher up on Google. I hope that has all been valuable to you in terms of improving your own website. That's us done. I'm going to, if there's any questions about to come in or just recently come in, I will try and address 1 or 2 of them in just a second. I'm well aware of the time. So before you disappear, if you are disappearing either for other Scottish Business Week activities, let me just share with you one particular link. And the link, which is on the screen right now, I will share into the chat box for you. That will allow you to download the slides from today's session. There we go. digitalboost.uk/SBW-SEO. Hardly a keyword-friendly URL to slap myself on the wrist for not practicing what I preached earlier. Don't blame me for that one, though. Okay. I thank you for your attendance. I hope that's been a bit of a whirlwind SEO best practice for you. Again, if you only do one thing after today, go and focus on keyword research and implementing those keywords into your pages, starting with your titles. The title is vital. If you do anything else beyond that, it's a bonus. You're going to see some movement in the Google rankings. Thank you very much, Marilyn. Glad it got you thinking. I kept Marilyn alert and awake. I'm glad to hear it. Emma, I'd love to be on Google Business, but my business address is my home. Emma, you can still use Google Business and not make public an address. So you could still get your Google Business live, activated, even kind of what they call verified, and then choose not to make your home address public, which I suspect is the issue. You can actually kind of more focus on the regions that you support. You know, you can have a map of Scotland rather than zoning right in on your address. I'm not going to lie to you, the businesses which are happy to promote the exact physical location usually get more from Google Business than those in your own position, Emma, who don't want to do that. But you can still use it. I recommend you do still use it, and you just make sure that you are comfortable with the data being revealed from it. But you'll still be able to give yourself a little bit of privacy there, depending on the way you set it up. Okay, any other questions? What about if you offer services online? But again, I assume you mean, Liz, with regard to Google Business. Again, the advice I gave to Emma, listen, I offer services more than physical products. So again, be on Google Business, have a profile. You know, your services are still searched for on Google. How do people search for them? What are the keywords used? So all of the same, listen, whether you're product-based or services-based or B2B or B2C, all of my advice stands today. I very much stand by it, no matter the type of business. It's all about climbing inside the mindset of the customer. What does the customer search for? What words do the customers use? What do they call it? And you need to adapt your content accordingly. Emma says, guess what I'll be doing today? She'll be playing with Google, playing with her web pages. Fantastic, Emma. I'm glad I've inspired you to do so. Okay, are there any other questions? If not, just a final reminder to you, you will all be receiving at the end of today an email with some feedback required. If you're able to give some feedback on not just this session, but anything else you attend during your business week day today. Every day they send out the links to give some feedback. So thank you in advance for your feedback. We read every word of it. It means a lot to us. Make sure you click and download the slides. And give yourself a wee steer on, again, almost use the slides as a kind of checkbox exercise, all the things I've covered. You can go through in a little bit more detail. And thank you, Tina, who has given me lots of clear, useful information on a Dreich day. I like to think I've made Tina's Dreich day a little bit more bright. I'm using that as my strap line from now on, Tina. Making Dreich days brighter. Take care, everyone. Stay well, and thanks for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you all at future Digital Boost webinars. Look them up. They're on the Business Gateway website. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.